Hi everyone, Kim Flynn here, and today's CEO School answers the question that's a personal pet peeve of mine. It drives me crazy, and that is, what do you do when your employee doesn't do something that you've told them like 3 times already not to do? Feels like 3,000 times, and you're like, seriously? We talked about this last week, seriously. So very, very common, first of all. It's human nature to not get it the first time. And sometimes as business owners, we are Uber producers, and we have been doing this, running this business for so long, we think it's just common sense, and it really is not common sense. You are going to break down steps as to what your employees should do into such small parts that you're gonna think is ridiculous. So this is how it's gonna go. You're gonna hire a new employee, and they're gonna come in the first day on the job. You're gonna give them training, right? Like 3 hours of training, and you're gonna say, okay, they're good to go. Everything's gonna run smoothly from here on out. And then day 2 happens, and the employee shows up, and they're unable to do what happened on day 1, the training that happened on day 1, right? So what you're gonna do, instead of just doing the one-time training, is you are going to build out a system. And this system is gonna be so detailed and so specific. Imagine if you were walking, right? And you're like, okay, employee, walk. And they're unable to walk. And you're like, why aren't you freaking walking? Like, just walk, like it's easy, like, see, I'm walking. So instead of that model, you're gonna say, okay, this is how you walk. The first thing you do is you lift your right leg, and then you swing it out at a 95-degree angle, and then you place it 1.5 feet in front of your other foot. Like, that specific. That is how clear and how detailed your processes are gonna be. The next thing you need to do is write it all down. You need to have it in a written format so that your employees can reference back to that. So that's step 2. So step 1 is to block it out. Step 2 is to write it down. And step 3 is to refrain from answering your employees' questions. And it's gonna be so hard because as business owners, we're so used to having all the answers, and we think that's what we get our value, right? Like, I know everything. People come to me and I can answer their questions, and that's what gives me value. And you have to break that habit. So if an employee comes to you after the training and they ask you the same question again, what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, check the system, or check the document, or check the process, and you are going to shut your mouth, which will be the hardest thing ever. But ultimately, you're training your employees to be self-sufficient, which is what you want. So to recap again, what do you do when your employees come to you again and again and again and are not able to do the same thing that you told them 1,000,000 times? This is what you do. You, number 1, write it out very, very clearly. Number 2, you make sure it's written. Number 3, you're gonna point to that document or that process, whatever that looks like, instead of answering their questions. So that's all I got for you today for CEO School, and it's a good thing because I'm really tired and I'm freaking sick of filming videos. This is Kim Flynn reminding you, as always, to play big in your business.